So I'll tell you more about what my findings were on the effect of irrigation scheduling on the performance of young apple trees in newly established orchards. So during the first 3 years after establishment, apple tree root growth is very rapid, and soil water is a crucial factor determining the type of root development made by apple trees. It is also important for apple trees to fill their allocated canopy space during this time as soon as possible to be profitable. But South Africa is a very dry country with a high evaporation rate and a low mean annual rainfall. The Western Cape, which is the biggest apple producing province in the Western Cape, also received relatively low rainfall in the last 2 to 3 years, which caused the limited refill of reservoirs, and the matter was further complicated with the increasing demand for fresh water. So what will the solution be? It is important to reduce the depletion of water resources without compromising yield and fruit quality of the apple trees, and it is also important to ensure deeply established rooting systems, as deeper rooting systems are more tolerant to drought. So the experimental site was on Oak Valley, and there were 3 different irrigation treatments. Treatment 1 was a short irrigation treatment, which was irrigated twice a week with 10 millimeters of water per irrigation. Treatment 2 was a medium irrigation cycle, which was irrigated once a week with 20 millimeters of water. And treatment 3 was a long irrigation cycle, which was irrigated once every 2 weeks with 30 millimeters of water per irrigation. Untitled micro sprinklers were used for irrigation, and the irrigation system was controlled using a GSM commander and cell phone technology. Soil water measurements were taken using multi-parameter smart sensors, and root studies were done using risotrons to determine the root length density, and the root density and distribution was determined by using the profile wall method. The vegetative growth parameters of the different trees was measured by measuring the basal stem circumference, the shoot lengths, and also the length of the new leader. When looking at the water balance equation, treatment 1 received the most irrigation water, followed by treatment 2 and then treatment 3. This resulted in treatment 1 having the highest evapotranspiration, followed by treatment 2 and then treatment 3. It is also interesting to note that treatment 3 had the highest change in soil water content. The root length density of all 3 treatments increased during the 2016-2017 growing season, with treatment 3 having the highest root length density at the end of the season. In the 2017-2018 season, both treatment 2 and treatment 3 had a higher percentage roots in the lowest soil layers compared to those of treatment 1. This picture shows the root distribution of treatment 1. This is the root distribution of treatment 2, and this is the root distribution of treatment 3. Overall, treatment 3 had the most roots in the whole soil profile, and then treatment 2, and treatment 1 had significantly less roots in the total soil profile compared to that of treatment 3. Overall, the roots prefer to grow in the loamy textured topsoil rather than the clay textured subsoil. Treatment 3 shows significantly more roots in the clay textured subsoil compared to that of treatment 1. For the vegetative growth, there were no significant differences between the 3 treatments in the 2016-2017 season. For the 2017-2018 season, we saw that there were no significant difference between the 2 treatments for the new leader, but significant differences were found between the mean stem circumference and the shoot lengths. In conclusion, the evapotranspiration decreased as the amount of water that was irrigated decreased, and longer irrigation cycles used more stored soil water. This resulted in water savings when using longer irrigation cycles. The longer irrigation cycles also showed roots to already a depth of 800 millimeter in the first growing season, where there were more water available. Not only did these irrigation cycles show roots to a greater depth, but also at a greater distance from the tree. Overall, the deep root system buffered the trees against water stress, and this will allow the users to use longer irrigation cycle in the future to save water, as there were no differences between the vegetative growth of the 3 treatments, so it didn't negatively affect the trees. And yes, it's still an ongoing, my time's up. It's still an ongoing research, and so this year it's still not bearing, and then the year after that the trees will start to bear. Thank you.